The Texas Parks and Wildlife television series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sportfish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $40 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. And by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to keep Texas wild with the support of proud members across the state. Find out more at tpwf.org. Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. Coming up on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
If you're feeling a little down or things aren't going great, the river will make you well.
So you just completed your hunter education course and now you want to become a better shotgun shooter. I'm going to show you some everyday exercises to help you do that.
I went to Dr. Red Duke of Houston and approached him to organize a private organization which was developed into the Texas Bighorn Society.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, taking Texans outside for 30 years.
DFW area has about 6 million people in it, so it's nice to be able to get out to an area like the Trinity so you can feel like you're out in nature and having a great time.
Isn't it easy?
I've never paddled for a long extended length, and now I'm just like pumped and ready to go. Excited. All right, let's see what we do.
Here we go. Opa.
Woo! Ha-ha, yeah.
There are just a couple of spots on the river where it gains some speed.
Nice and easy breezy.
But for the most part, anybody could come out and enjoy paddling on the Trinity.
I have a little motto. If you're feeling a little down or things aren't going great, the river will make you well.
Nice.
Woo!
Yeah, buddy.
Here we go. Woo! Oh man, am I wet. Woohoo!
Somebody's having fun.
I'm wearing water.
I heard a yahoo.
You'll want to have a nice quiet experience, and the Trinity is a place you can usually find that. It's a really calm, easy paddle, flat water.
It gives you a place to go paddling without having to drive long distances. It's our hometown river. It's what we got. So we need to embrace it, enjoy it, and I love it.
So you just completed your hunter education course and now you want to become a better shotgun shooter. I'm going to show you some everyday exercises to help you do that. the flashlight drill, the 3-bullet drill, and some mounting exercises. These were taught to me by Gil and Vicki Ash with OSP Shooting School. Let's get started. To do the flashlight drill, you need an unloaded shotgun and you need a small flashlight that is able to fit into the barrel. Indoors, in a room free of distraction, verify that your shotgun is unloaded and safe. Insert the small flashlight into the barrel of your shotgun. Start with the flashlight in the corner where the ceiling and the wall meet. Slowly mount your shotgun, continuing to move your flashlight across the seam. Okay, once you reach the other side, lower your shotgun and do that action again. In the opposite corner, from left to right, you want to make sure the flashlight stays as smooth as possible as you travel across the seam. And doing this activity over and over, this soon becomes second nature and instinctive. One of the exercises is called the 3-bullet drill, and you can use 3 empty shotgun shells or 3 cups or any items. Place them on a ledge 12 to 16 inches apart. Take your unloaded shotgun, double check that it's unloaded. While keeping focus on that center target, slowly mount your firearm to the target on the right. Now lower your shotgun, keep focus on that center target, and slowly raise your shotgun to point at the target on the left. The whole purpose of this exercise is to not look at your shotgun barrel as it raises up. You're still looking at your center target, but this is training your brain to accept the shotgun is coming into your field of view. You're improving your muscle memory, you're improving your shotgun mount, and you're improving your focus. However you're going to be hunting or shooting in the field, practice that before you actually get to the field. Let's use this rock. Double check that your firearm is unloaded. Practice standing up, and as you're standing up, mount your firearm as if you were to take a shot. And sit back down, and then we're going to do it again. You should mount your firearm as you are standing. It should be one fluid motion. And as you stand up, rotate your body as if you were seeing your target in different locations. Practice this exercise however you're going to be hunting or shooting. So if you're going to be laying down, you want to practice laying down. And with an improved gun mount and focus, the chances of hitting your target are much greater. There's always room for improvement. By practicing the flashlight drill, 3-bullet drill, and different mounting positions, your shotgunning will be on point. There are no shortcuts. With patience, practice, and perseverance, you will increase your shotgun proficiency.
This area is, in between 2 picnic areas. Why don't you mow this so that we can walk across there? And what we say is, well, if you don't mind walking around for a couple of years, the native trees will come back. The seedlings are there, we just have to give them an opportunity to grow.
Hurricane Rita made landfall near the Salty River shortly after midnight this morning.
First, it was Hurricane Rita in 2005. Then came Hurricane Ike in 2008. Both storms slammed the Texas coast, taking lives, destroying buildings and homes, causing millions of dollars in property damage. Several state parks were hit as well, their beauty altered by a massive loss of vegetation. Today, the land is healing. Despite the destruction, there is new life and, ironically, new opportunity to help restore what was once lost.
It's hard to believe that it doesn't seem like it's been that long ago. It's still a pretty fresh memory sometimes.
David Weeks is the superintendent of Martin Dias Jr. State Park. He's talking about his memory of Hurricanes Rita and Ike and their impact on the park.
Places in this area right here that you could not even see the ground surface. There was so much debris on the ground. Your way in is blocked by the storm debris on the roads that you actually have to stop and physically cut your way into the park. You know, we're out here every day and we take pride in the parks, and, you know, to see it damaged, it's not so much discouraging as it is just heartening, because you can see out there, if you look out through the woods, how open it is, and you also notice that there's quite a few pine trees that are sticking up there that are dead. Those trees were damaged by the storm. They didn't die immediately, but because of bug infestations or dry weather, drought conditions, they died.
When Hurricane Rita hit the park, the vegetation was so dense here that falling trees created a domino effect. Two years later, what Rita started, Hurricane Ike finished, creating large open areas that introduced new diversity to the forest.
With the overstory gone, all the underbrush and new trees, which is creating the problem with the invasive species, which are like the tallow trees growing right here, and then the dog fennel weeds that are growing up. And we've seen a tremendous growth in our small animal population as well as our deer population here in the park.
We have less trees, but we certainly have more wildlife. As far as our visitors, I can't tell you the number of visitors that have come up here after the hurricane and cried, because they've been coming here for so many years, seeing these big magnificent oaks and magnolias, and then all of a sudden there are so many of them down on the ground.
In fact, it was those two very species of trees that Hurricane Rita blew down on top of the park's nature center.
We had a large red oak hit a magnolia, and both of them hit this building and completely totaled this half of the building. We lost a lot of our exhibits inside, some of our books, some of our educational materials. Thanks to my taxidermy friends and a lot of volunteers, we've been able to restock the Nature Center, making exhibits, hands-on activities for kids and adults. We lost anywhere between 35 to 40% of our trees from the two hurricanes. Originally, this whole area was part of the big thicket, made up more of longleaf pines than the other two pines that we had. All of this area was completely clear-cut right after World War II. So they got all the longleaf pine and left a few of the loblollies. So what came back was loblollies. So when we knew we were going to have to do something with this area, we decided to try to help put it back to the way it was originally. Pretty soon though, say in 25 to 30 years, this area will look like the area with the tall pine trees again.
Just down the road, and also impacted by Hurricanes Rita and Ike, is Village Creek State Park.
We are in the big thicket area of Texas, and it's known for how thick and lush the vegetation is in this area. And when you get this much sunlight reaching the ground, everything comes up and starts growing.
Mother Nature gave park staff here the same opportunity to rebuild the native longleaf pine forest that once dominated this region of Texas.
Because of the clearing from the hurricane, it gave us an opportunity to do some resource management in this area a lot easier and faster than we would have normally been able to do it. An area about 75 acres back here on the south side of the park on this sandy ridge would have been dominated by longleaf pine trees, but it was mostly overgrown with loblolly pine trees and hardwoods, and the hurricane took a lot of those out. Then we came in and mulched the understory, which was about 6 to 8 feet high, and we followed that with a prescribed burn in the area. The contractor coming in and doing a thinning of some of the remaining loblolly pine trees. We left a few of them, left all the longleaf pine trees here for seed trees, and left a few of the hardwoods. And then the contractor also came back and planted over 25,000 longleaf pine tree seedlings to bring that longleaf back to this area. And about 45 of that 75 acres that we worked on here has been replanted in longleaf pine trees. Before the state bought this property in '79, it had been logged in the 20s and again in the 50s. And so most of the forest was an even-aged forest. All the trees were about the same age, and that's not natural in a forest. And so when the hurricane came through and took out some of the canopy trees, then you have an uneven-aged forest, which creates more biodiversity, because then you have more different types of plants at different levels, which in turn feeds different animals in the ecosystem. So it's a good thing as far as that goes. It's a bad thing when You know, it destroys people's homes and businesses and things like that.
Yes, hurricanes are part of nature, and we have definitely come back as a park, and we're definitely coming back as a beautiful nature area also.
It was 30 years ago that the Texas Parks and Wildlife television series, originally known as Made in Texas, got its start. To celebrate this milestone, we're taking a look back at some of the interesting stories and unique characters that we've discovered over the past 3 decades. In 1986, we looked at the status and the future of the desert bighorn sheep.
I would like to see them like they used to be when I was a young girl.
Many people have never seen a desert bighorn. Though there are still a few viable populations in the United States, their numbers are rapidly declining. In the West Texas mountains, the population once numbered more than 1,000. They adapted to one of the harshest environments, where only the most robust survive. Today, there are no native bighorns left in Texas. Why? The answer is entwined in a combination of factors. West Texas was a barren and remote land, wild and untamed, inaccessible to most, until the late 1800s, when the railroad began pushing its way west, opening this savage land to settlers and commercial venturers. The railroad cut a path right through the heart of bighorn country. With it came the dreams and hopes to tame this wild land. Soon, the mountains began to offer a profit to ranchers and market hunters, who took bighorn, deer, and antelope out of the mountains and sent them east in refrigerated railroad cars. The railroad, the ranchers, and now the hunters began to take their toll. Uncontrolled hunting played only a minor role in the demise of the bighorn. In fact, in 1903, Texas prohibited the hunting of bighorn, but this had a minimal impact on their survival. What dealt the final decisive blow was the ranching of domestic sheep. Not only did the bighorn have to compete for forage, they also had to fight parasites and diseases brought in by domestic sheep. Although bighorns had developed the ability to adapt to the harsh desert environment, their natural immune systems were not able to combat these deadly new diseases. By 1941, the total estimated population of Texas bighorns was less than 150. The last sighting in 1960 counted 2 ewes in the Sierra Diablo Mountains. The demise of the desert bighorns in Texas did not go unnoticed. The state of Texas, aware of the rapid decline in bighorn numbers, began taking action in 1945 when they established the first refuge. The Sierra Diablo Wildlife Management Area was established for the restoration of desert bighorn sheep.
Restoration and working with desert bighorn sheep, it's an expensive process. It takes an inordinate commitment of both manpower and funds. It became evident to me a number of years ago that we needed some outside help. I went to Dr. Red Duke of Houston and approached him to organize a private organization which has developed into the Texas Bighorn Society.
And my idea was that we would just raise money to help them do whatever it was they wanted to do. And that's build the brood pastures right out here. And we did.
And after an investment of 7 months and more than 3 miles of fence, the project was completed at a cost of $102,000. In 1983, the Texas Bighorn Society donated the brood facility to the state of Texas. The Sierra Diablo Wildlife Management Area became the next site of an intensive restoration effort for desert bighorns. Texas Parks and Wildlife reached a trade-out agreement with the Nevada Department of Wildlife for the acquisition of sheep. The capture and release of sheep is a very delicate operation and must be handled with the utmost care.
Thank you, sir. Slide it over there. I have an adult.
The crews carefully secured and controlled the sheep. They blindfolded the sheep to prevent them from being terrified and carried them to boats ready to transport them across Lake Mead to waiting trucks where their journey to Texas would begin. 27 hours later, they arrived at the Sierra Diablo facility. The sheep were carefully unloaded, and after proper inoculations and tagging, they were released into the brood pastures. In all, the project stocked 4 pens with 23 ewes and 8 rams from Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and wild sheep from prior releases in the Sierra Diablo Mountains. Supporters' motives for restoring bighorns are often criticized because many are avid sports hunters who might have hunted bighorns.
There's a lot of people think that the members of society, since we're spending our time and effort and money out here to try to bring the sheep back, that we want to bring them back just to hunt them and kill them. But that's not really the case, because the sheep are to a point to where if we're successful in all of our efforts, we'll probably never have a huntable population in any of our lifetime.
The sport hunter is not only responsible for the restoration of Texas bighorns, but also for supporting most of our wildlife resources. Yet what comes into question is the fact that this endangered Texas species is still classified as a big game animal. The project goal is to restore the population back to huntable numbers, but why bother to revive the species, only to designate it a big game animal?
Our goal with any endangered species is to restore it back to a viable population. I think, considering the fact that this program has been supported since 1954 with hunters' dollars from the sale of hunting licenses and federal aid on hunting supplies, guns and ammunition, I think it's only fair that our objective be to provide a return to the people that are supporting the program, which would be a huntable population.
The public has to realize this is their wildlife. It is not the property of the Parks and Wildlife Department. We're merely your servants. If the public doesn't care, wildlife conservation will suffer.
Although the plight of the desert bighorn is still uncertain, if the tenacity and commitment of its supporters is any indication, then desert bighorns have a promising future in Texas.
For them not to be in the mountains, I don't think it would be right to the North American people.
This series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $40 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. And by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to keep Texas wild with the support of proud members across the state. Find out more at tpwf.org. Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.